The occasion is, if you are hearing it today while this episode is being dropped, today is Christmas Eve, and we want to say Merry Christmas to all of you, wherever you are. Enjoying Christmas. If you're on a break, if you're having a holiday, or you're enjoying it with friends and family in Singapore.
Yeah.
We hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful time and having an amazing season, year-end season. And Christmas is always a very fun period, right?
And so what are we giving? Because this is called from us to you who's listening. What are we giving about ourselves on this Christmas period?
I know. I feel like I need a jing 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 jing.
对，我有一点那个 Mariah Carey 的歌 That's my favorite actually.
Mariah Carey being released from the depths of the ocean.
可以，我可以跟我们的 producer 讲的，放一点 Christmas 的歌，放一点 Christmas 的 jingle。
这个很 divisive 来 like either you love Mariah Carey or you hate her. Or very divisive 来。Okay, anyway, so I think we were talking about this episode, right? And we were saying, okay, it's Christmas, and it's always and Christmas is known to be the season of giving.
Yes.
Right? Whenever it's Christmas, we give gifts, and we always say that we reflect on our year and we think about, how the year has been. We're being grateful, we're being thankful. So we were just thinking like, what should we do? What should we give as gifts to our listeners? Out there,
gifts
right?
do we have?
What gifts do we have,
Yeah.
right? And then that prompted us to think about, hey, when I think about, like, if you ask all our friends around us, if you think about Maddy, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, Maddy? When your friends think about you, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Their minds.
I would think that what they think would be fitness.
Yes.
Energy.
For sure.
Food.
Yes.
Something like that.
And it's not just food, it's nutrition, quality, and delicious food. So I must add in for you because that is why I'm interested in your content. Right? And we'll talk about that, right? Because I always feel that I've always told you that I don't enjoy eating like chicken breast and broccoli and sweet potato, right? Like I always feel that if you can make nutritious and high protein food delicious, yummy, why not, right? So we'll get to that because that's what I'm interested in you.
And then what about your friends? So from your friends, what will be the top of mind things that come to you? What is your personal branding?
When people think about me, they think about energy, for sure.
For sure.
They also think about MC. Yeah, they know me as an MC. And I think the last couple of years, they also think of me as Mr. Cocktails. So it's energy, MCing, which is about speaking, and cocktails.
So this is what we want to bring across to you who's listening. Something that we are being kind of known as, and also something that we are passionate about in our own hearts that we would really love to share with you in this festive season.
Yes. And I think it's more of our I can say 我们的小小心得啦。Okay, we just say that because we want to share.
心得是什么哈？我们的
就是小小的一个心意，然后你觉得maybe certain small little maybe achievements and all that and little tips that we can share. Right. So obviously we agree that it's not like a masterclass or anything.
We're not we're not trying to be experts. We're not in this whole podcast, what we just want is just share our stories, our experiences, like a friend to you. And we're not here to teach you what to do. You get to choose to do that.
Yeah, you do you. You do you, right? But of course, we hope that when you, with our sharings, you're able to make you can have some benefits in your life, right?
Yeah.
So today, obviously, we and it's almost like these topics are very close to our hearts. Can I just say that? It's like 我们觉得 for all the 6 topics, 可能这个 topic 我觉得最少 preparation 的。
Yeah,
because it's something that I'm so naturally attuned to, and I honestly don't think I have to do much preparation because I think it's something that is very, very much a part of me. And very similar to you, right? We talk about fitness and nutritious food. It's very much a part of you. 不用 prepare 太多的。Yeah. So I think we really hope that we can give this as gifts to you this Christmas because it's something that's very close to our hearts. And obviously the tips that we are going to share are things that have worked for us. So these are tips that have worked for us. They're effective. They have helped us a lot. And we certainly hope that they help you along in your journey as well. I think I'm very curious about your content. Can I talk about you first?
Okay, yes, please.
Yeah.
Please. Okay.
So okay, I want to do this. I first invite you, Maddy, right? Talk about maybe a little bit of your journey. Not too much. I think we've heard a lot about your journey already. But maybe some of the things that people are really interested to find out whenever it comes to fitness, nutrition, nutritious food, because I think that's pretty much all you, right? So tell us a little bit more about that, and maybe you can share some tips on how do you have delicious nutritious food or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I mean for me, my own experience with fitness and nutrition is just perhaps like any of you listening, trying out new exercises, trying out new food, finding out the diet that works for you and things like that. But if there's one thing that I want to share with you out there on this whole fitness and nutrition thing is that there's really no best fitness plan or best food or best diet out there, because the best plan is one that you can take on for yourself, that works for you, that makes you feel good, and that you can take on sustainably.
I like the word sustainably.
Forever.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's okay to get references and information and knowledge from books, from fitness influencers, from people like me, from whoever that you choose to follow, because there's just too many of these information out there, especially on social media.
Totally.
But know that the best one is the one that works for you. Which means whatever that you've taken and absorbed and learned from outside and external sources, you have to take it in, try it out, decide whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, change. If you like it, stay with it and find out and realize that whether that works out for you or not.
I fully agree, and I think there's so much content. You're right. There's so much content, right? About fitness, about nutrition. I mean, it's the whole health trend, right? We've seen people moving into healthy eating, healthy lifestyles, and it's all the rave these days, and it's been going on for a while, right? But I think I really like that one word that you mentioned. It's about sustainability. It's about how do you make that thing work for you. Because there's so many diets or fitness plans. It's so much about that one time, and it's very intense. The one trend. They're very intense. Then you realize, I cannot keep up. Then after a while, like maybe a few weeks or 1 month, then you fizzle out because not sustainable. Then I go back to my potato chips or whatever. And again, nothing wrong with potato chips. I know you're gonna look at me at that.
No judgment.
but I mean, what I'm saying is, like, if it's not sustainable and you cannot make it part of your lifestyle, it's very easy to get into it, very intense, and then drop out.
And the thing is, this is the point about being in the current world that we live in. We are being exposed to so much information, and information is so fast, so easy. In fact, become too easy for us right now. Information is literally overload on our fingertips. And the thing is, the thing is really, how much do you need to know? Versus how much should you be doing and finding out for yourself, right? Because I think this whole health and fitness trend has been like, even before our times, right? Like, every different evolution of the state of the nation, there will be something that a health trend will shout. Perhaps maybe I don't have the facts here, but maybe like 50 years ago they said that eggs are bad. Then suddenly everybody's scared to eat eggs. And then science continue to evolve, technology comes in, and then research, and then they realize, actually eggs are not so bad, sugar is bad. And after a while, sugar become not so bad, then become processed food is bad, cereal is bad, white rice is bad. So there's so many information and narratives about food, and there's nothing wrong, because this is about science. There's always changing, always evolution. So what then do we know what is the best for us?
Correct. And I love what you talked about earlier, that there's all these trends of, then this thing is bad. Then suddenly that thing is bad. Suddenly I have to be aware of this, then be aware of that, then be cautious of this.
And do this, and then you will get that, do that, and then you will like get six-pack. Correct.
Like I guess in my mind there's a lot of, and put it in your own words, right? There's a lot of fear. Right? Fear of something, fear of this. And that and remember you mentioned about that being or impacting your relationship with food.
Correct.
And I really love how you talk about it. Tell us a bit more about that fear and that relationship with food.
So I think, while we cannot stop all this information and all these fads and trends and diets and all these things that comes up, I think, and the thing is, when we see something that's being shared, say for example, eating sugar is bad. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this statement or whoever that's sharing it. But the thing is, what kind of feeling does it invoke in us? Because
scared lor, fear lor,
fear. So,
不敢lor, 不可以lor.
Exactly. So when we begin our relationship with, be it food or fitness, with a fear-based relationship, then everything becomes very restrictive,
Yes.
very controlling,
Very sian.
very sian, very
Yeah.
cannot. I want to eat white rice today, but cannot because some so and so say cannot. That place say cannot. Then 什么都 cannot. Then how?
Yeah.
Then then that's not enjoying life.
Yeah,
right?
eating and food intake becomes a chore.
Yeah.
It becomes very calculated.
Exactly.
Very calculated.
And same for fitness. Like, so and so say that if you run 30 minutes for X number of weeks, then it must be good. So I'm going to force myself running. I hate running, but I shall do it. So there's no such thing. So what this is all about, just a mindset. I think even before doing anything, think about your mindset. Like what is it that you want about food, and what kind of fitness activity that you want for yourself. And I think instead of having that fearful space to address this food and fitness thing, try to use it in a more loving space. What can I include in my diet? What do I like to do?
I like that.
I'm gonna do what I like. If I
like
hate
that.
running, don't run lah. Nobody said you need to run.
Oh, that's
if I
true.
love to dance by myself, then go and dance by yourself. Go turn on the music, put in your earphones and dance naked in the room if you want. Nobody's gonna stop you. But you get to decide. And this is very love based, right? Because you love yourself, you know what you like, then you just do what you like. And if you like
Interesting.
certain food, include it. And just do a very inclusive, loving kind of thing instead of fearing. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more. I really like the idea that you approach your food and all that with a loving attitude. And again, 我又回到我的 be gentle with yourself.
Yes, be gentle with
Be gentle with yourself. 不要
yourself.
什么都不可以，这个不可以，那个不可以 and everything is a no and it's consequences. And I think when you approach life like that, it's very restrictive, very limiting, and you really won't enjoy it. And I honestly don't think that you will get good results out of this when you're feeling always so limited, right?
Yeah.
But how do you cultivate that loving relationship with food? How do you learn to be more treat yourself better when it comes to food?
I think other than using a loving approach, because it could be a little bit maybe difficult to understand, but be very curious about what you are listening and what you're seeing out there, and really start to question what you see and what you hear. And this is something that I mentioned very often. Like, say for example, if you hear from a social media post saying that eating ice cream is bad, for example, okay? Instead of just taking it in and then applying it to your own eating lifestyle, start to question that, why is eating
I like
ice cream
that.
bad? Why is
为什么?
why is a very powerful question that I think we can all use it more than
Instead
not.
of accepting that statement
Instead of accepting,
as
don't
face
accept
value.
it. Yes. Be curious that why is ice cream bad? Why is sugar bad? Get to know the why. The truth is, and I was saying a bit earlier, that about food and fitness is so big topic, and it's difficult for people to understand because it is all the way to a very scientific level, because there's exactly a real why as to how carbohydrate breaks down into cells and how it works in the body. That kind of boring scientific facts. And it's so sciencey. But it's also an art of eating, an art of moving. So it's such a big topic. So be very curious and really question whether this information is real or not.
I like that.
And probably that information,
curious.
that statement could be real 20 years ago when science was
At that stage. Yeah.
But 20 years later, change already.
Yeah, of course.
So be always willing to adjust and experiment on yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think we had this conversation before, right? That whenever it comes to, because I did my final year in university, I did like 1 year of research, so I had to write a paper, right?
Wow.
A thesis for my marketing degree. So I think that was the first time I came into the world of kind of research, right? And again, it's just a 1 year thing. Obviously, I'm not a researcher right now. I'm not writing books. But I think what you learn about research is there's a lot of literature out there.
Wow.
And every time you write a paper or somebody proposes something, you are trying to prove a hypothesis, right? Whether that statement or the hypothesis is true or is validated or not. And then you do your research with your parameters and all that to kind of justify that the hypothesis is true. So the truth is, in the research world, there's a lot of hypotheses that are being put out, because every time research is evolving, it's building on somebody else's research.
Yes.
Which is why research is ever evolving, and there's always new stuff coming out.
Yeah.
So you realize every few years there's a trend coming out.
Yeah.
Every few years there's new research or new terminology coming out about food and all that. So all that is very real. But I think it's exactly like what you say.
Adopt a researcher's mindset.
Yeah, and be really curious about it.
Yeah.
Because I think from a researcher point of view, it's always being curious about why is this the way it is.
Yeah.
Can I prove it in any way? and how do I observe and find evidence and information about this?
Exactly, because like when you see all the best diets out there, maybe this particular diet can be very can serve this person very well. This person enjoy eating it this way. This person enjoy eating one meal a day, for example.
Okay.
But will you enjoy the same?
True.
And if you blindly, like literally blindly just
follow.
take and cut and copy into your own lifestyle, and then you feel like shit, then it's not serving you. So you have to like, have this curious mindset and just try it out. If this thing doesn't work for you, then try another one. And of course find out why. Is this really the truth or just a fad out there? There's too many fads already.
Too many facts. I agree. Okay.
And of course one of the way is follow my Instagram lah.
I agree.
自己打广告一下。
But it's true. Actually, okay, so I find value in following
follow the right
Instagram.
sources.
Yeah, because I find that you do question. I mean, the posts that you have or the stories that you have does get me to question a little bit more about the food or the choices I make. And I realize some of these assumptions are just assumptions.
Yeah.
And it's some information that I've taken in somewhere. And because of taking it in without thinking through it much,
We thought that is the truth.
yeah, it became the truth, or it became the thing that I remember. And I remember somewhere reading that whatever milk is good for me, but you're saying it's not, or I have to think through. So you know what I mean. So I think it's about having this critical thinking that's really important.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. And one thing I really appreciate about you, Maddy, and I've told you many times, is it's not just about. I mean, there's so much fitness content out there. But what I'm really interested in you is this thing about creativity in your food, in your recipes, and I always find it fascinating. Like again, right? Because to me, it's I go to the gym, I'm very mindful about my protein intake, right? I'll make sure my body weight down, so 2.5 or 2.2, so that's a protein intake I need per day. So to me, as long as I hit my protein intake, I can eat whatever I want. But of course, I'm still going to the gym, I'm doing my cardio, so on and so forth, right? But I also realized that there's something that's very different about you. You have this creativity when it comes to your recipe. 你可以拿这个 ingredient 那个 ingredient 掺这样子就是一个 bowl of like your lunch.
而且很好吃，
重点是好吃。Yeah, so you will enjoy it and you will enjoy sharing it because it's delicious, it is yummy, it is nutritious, and it's filling.
Yeah.
So help us talk to us a little bit, talk to a little bit about that creativity behind your food. I find it very fascinating.
I think because I take references from the information out there, but eventually it is being distilled to a point where I know that it is within my control and it's my choice to work out whatever that works for me. So that means instead of just kind of blindly following it, I just do something that I like, that's convenient for me, that fits my schedule and fits what my body wants.
Sure. Yeah.
There are on days that my body just needs real food, like whole processed food, like the potato, sweet potato, chicken. This is kind of my staple.
Okay, we have those days.
There are some days where, I really feel like eating this ice cream and chips, and I will just eat it. So it is really just basically this creativity comes from a point of knowing that we get to decide the rules. We get to set the rules, and we get to do it in the however way we want it, the way I like it.
Okay.
Probably this is how I do it. Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you will have a bit more. You have done more research on this. You have a bit more science behind it, and obviously, we can always learn a bit more about food.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what I said, I always find it fascinating that you tell me. Remember that day you're telling me, hey, I add cottage cheese. Yeah.
And then you don't know about cottage cheese.
I know. So can I just confess? I have no idea. Or rather, I feel that cottage cheese is one of those things that doesn't come to my mind immediately when I think about
because you don't know. Because the thing is, we don't know what we don't know.
Exactly,
there's a lot of things that we don't know.
Exactly.
And once we get to know it, we realize that, oh my, what was I thinking?
Yeah. And I realized, quite high protein this cottage cheese, and quite yummy. And so I realized, I can just easily up my protein intake by just kind of putting it into my bread or my little salad that I make up. So I think sometimes it's just about knowing these ingredients that help, and then you will help to change my way of being creative with my food. So that's quite interesting for me.
And if you're listening out there having these questions in your mind, what is the best diet for me? What exercises should I do?
I got a feeling some people are listening in and like, just tell me the answer.
Just tell me
the answer. 跟我讲就好了。
跟我讲一个 meal plan.
你很多 research, 你很多 theory. Just tell me what I need to hear.
But the truth is, so right now I'm into health coaching, right? Health and nutrition coaching. The truth is, and the thing is, you just go on Google, right? Diet plan, exercise plan. You're going to get like thousands of plans out there for you.
Tons of it.
But while they are good references, but end of the day, you get to decide, you get to curate one for yourself. Because end of the day, remember what I mentioned earlier, is about doing this sustainably. You don't just want to eat a certain diet for 3 months, you know, say for example, lose weight or gain weight if this is what you want, and then after that, ping pong, what's that? Yo, ping pong, yo again, and then go back to the same old way. So it's really finding and be that researcher's mindset and find out what works for you, your body, sustainably. And I think even before you ask what you should eat or how you should move, how many minutes and what VO2 max, you know, what kind of aerobic capacity, all these questions, drop it first and really ask yourself what is the goals that you want at the end of the day. I mean, like for some, you know, some of our goals perhaps will be just wanting to carry our children or grandchildren in 30 years time, but really what is the goal? And today is Christmas Eve, okay? And the food also has a lot of different meanings in different occasions,
and food plays a very important part in all our festivities.
Yes,
or, you know,
food is about
connections.
It is. About connections, about that bonding, about that social connection. Because end of the day, while food has a space in terms of really giving us the nutrients and letting our body move and heal and all this energy kind of thing, the science part of it, but the truth is the art part of food specifically is really about connecting, making relationships, building that connection, and this is as important as having that physical health. Health is really about total health. It's not just physical, it's emotional, cognitive, and all this kind of thing.
You cannot separate, like, oh, I only want to be physically healthy, but you know, and you want to kind of like silo it and say physical health not equal mental health. I think it's very difficult. I think wellness is like a total package. It's a total package because you are a person, you are a living, walking, breathing person. You are all rolled in one. How do you compartmentalize your own physical and mental and different health, right? I think it's impossible. So take you as you are.
So if there's one advice I would give to our listeners about food and fitness in this Christmas season is really know that there's a space to just eat what you enjoy, especially on a very important, let's say for example, you get to meet your friends and your family once a year for Christmas. Are you going to be there sitting deciding that eating that brownie is going to make me fat, or eating that pudding is going to be blah blah blah, putting that 1 kg on me? But know that there is a space and time for that connection with food and building that relationship too. While there will be other times for you to take care of your nutrition and things, but there is, and you always get to decide. You always get to try out what works for you.
I agree, and I think as a follow up and to kind of wrap that part up, is you can always reach out to Maddy. Yes. Always reach out to Maddy, and she's always more than happy to.
Liew, Maddyliew. Yes. If you have any questions on food and fitness, and you need some coaching, I haven't kind of officially opened my business yet, but I'm still studying this realm of nutrition. But please, I'm happy to answer any of your questions. And even happy to do a 20-minute coaching call with you. Just contact me. I will just do whatever I can to share lah. But know that end of the day, you are the captain of the ship. You get to decide, you get to choose, you get to curate. It's not going to come from me. I'm not going to tell you to eat this chicken breast. I love it, but you may hate it. It is fine. There's a lot of other stuff that you can eat.
And I think just that last point on that chicken breast, right? Since you brought up chicken breast,
we
always say chicken breast because it's the highest protein content, right?
A good protein sauce.
Good protein sauce. Yes. I think sometimes it's in the little things. And I want to talk about that because sometimes we think it's about, they're having that particular diet and it's in the grand plan of things. No, I think a lot of times it's in the smallest things. For me, it's just about now I'm being more attuned to know, my chicken breast, like 100 grams of chicken breast, how much protein is inside? 1 egg white, how much protein is inside, right? Or like a tablespoon of cottage cheese. So I think my journey in learning this, Maddy, is also to read the food labels a little bit more.
This is always good to start.
Learning to read the food labels, learning to see, actually all this thing about high protein content, is it really true? Is it per 100 gram? Is it per serving? Is it per carton? Is it per bottle? I mean, what is it that I'm really, really doing? So I think these small little things are the moments where I can be more mindful about what I'm eating. And then I can make the right choices about what goes to my body.
And this is really good because you see, it's about mindfulness, and there's like so many ways of really understanding about food. Like for Jeremy, you enjoy reading the food labels, you enjoy learning and knowing that per serving how many grams of protein. But for you listening out there, you don't have to do it. If it's something that you like really don't like to like read the labels or go to calorie counting, it's okay because there's so many ways, and what works for one may not work for another. So there is no one way to do this, but there's a way that you truly can own for yourself.
Very good.
And that's where I can come in to help if you would like my help.
Sounds exciting.
Wow.
Very good.
So today we're talking about Christmas, and just now we talk about how food is connecting all of us on the table and things like that. And there's really one thing that I really want to know and learn from you. And I always look up to you because you are the person that I really go to see how a message is being delivered. Firstly, sounding so nice to the ears.
Right.
Okay, in case y'all don't know and never listen, you can listen to episode 2. We'll talk. You will hear who we are.
Yes.
And Jeremy, he is a MC. He was an MC. He was paid to be MC. So speaking is his thing.
Yes.
And that's also the reason why we're doing this podcast. You know, to speak up. And for me, I would like to speak better. And Jeremy is the person that I'll go to want to learn about speaking and understand how speaking works. So tell us a little bit about what you can share about speaking and your understanding, your learning, and how it can apply to this festive season.
Perfect. Yeah, I just want to say, you know, that speaking of speaking.
不是配啊。
不是配啊 speaking yeah, I mean I'll talk a little bit about episode 2 about, you know, how I started on my journey of speaking, and it was my interest in theatre, on the love for the stage and all that. But I think speaking is a very important part of our lives because every day we are delivering a message, right? And it depends on what context you are speaking. You could be in a one-on-one conversation, right? And you have to gather your thoughts. You need to be able to gather your thoughts in a way that the message is being received by the listener. You could be speaking in a context where you're in a meeting and you're leading a meeting, right? And you're trying to maybe deliver a campaign or talk about objective for the plans for next year. Or you could be, you know, sometimes in life, certain special occasions, like say a wedding, you could be asked to be an MC at your friend's wedding, right? We have all these different occasions for speaking, but I think speaking is a really important skill set that we can endeavor to learn and pick up. And trust me, again, I always say it's a journey, right? Today where I am, I also don't think I'm speaking perfectly. I think I've got lots to learn, especially when I listen back to my own recordings, right? And my own podcast. For sure, there's always a room for improvement. But I think what I want to share today is like maybe some suggestion or some little tips, right? If you feel that you struggle a little bit with speaking, hopefully these tips will really help you, right?
Okay, so share with us, because I think perhaps there'll be some listeners out there that will think, "Ayah, Jeremy, you're a trained MC. You know, since young you have been doing theatre. I think you have the gift of speaking. So you know, maybe like tell us a little bit about." Like, is this really a gift that you have when you're young? Did it come to you naturally, or did you have to put in that work? Because like for a normal layman, you know, they'll be like, "Yeah, I don't know how to speak. I cannot sound like I don't sound good." How would you encourage them to kind of move past this fear? And how is your journey like?
Okay, my short answer to it, is a phrase that we say in theatre. In Chinese, so it's a phrase in Chinese. 台上 wait, let me try to remember. 台上是台前10分钟，台后10年功。I'm quite sure I've got it wrong somewhere, but essentially what I'm saying is what you see on the stage is 10 minutes, right? But what goes on behind the stage is 10 years of effort to make sure that 10 minutes is convincing to you or is believable to you and it's amazing to you. So I would say that your gift or your ability definitely plays a part. It plays a very small part.
Wow. I think this could blow somebody's mind. Like, what? A gift is a small part?
Because if you...
So there's no excuses.
There's no excuses.
No excuses.
And have you read a book about 10,000 hours?
No.
Okay, so there's this rule of 10,000 hours. And the rule of 10,000 hours basically states that if you want to be good at something, you have to spend 10,000 hours at it. Right? And this is done through research, you know, trying to understand why do certain people excel in what they do. And the research basically distills down to the fact that this particular individual has spent 10,000 hours on that particular activity, whether it's playing basketball, whether it's playing the piano, whether it's whatever. So if I think back to my life, and I think back about all the occasions I've held the mic in my hand, and I've stood in front of audiences and speak, I think I would have already achieved 10,000 hours.
Wow.
Just make a guess, Maddy. Just in terms of weddings, how many weddings do you think I've done in my life up to now?
I think you asked me before.
Yeah.
You mean 100?
More than that. more than that. I've done more than 100 weddings in my life.
Wow.
So let's put
And
into
this is only
math.
weddings, no, it's not even events.
This is just weddings.
Yeah.
So let's put it into math, yeah. Every single wedding approximately is about 3 to 4 hours. About there. Of course, you're not speaking all the time, but I'm just giving you a very generic time frame. About 4 hours per wedding. So if let's say you've got about 150 weddings, there's 600 hours
Wow.
of speaking time, of airtime. Yeah, and weddings not the only thing I do.
Yeah, your theatre,
Yeah,
your
my theatre,
events.
exactly. My hosting a convention, product launches, family days, all these add up, right? Yeah, so all these hours are put in. But of course, whenever somebody looks at me from below there and go, wow, Jeremy, you speak so well. Guess what? I've done 150 weddings behind me. I put in a lot of shit. I put in a lot of hard work behind me. So
Okay.
all you see is that moment of brilliance or that eloquence that you think it comes naturally. Sorry, they came with hundreds, thousands of hours behind me.
Okay, so my question is, I'm curious, with these 10,000 hours that you have worked in your all these speaking engagements and your learning and your training, how has it, other than getting paid for the job
Yes.
and delivering whatever they need to do in the meetings or whatever, how has it helped you as a person? How, okay, so maybe more specifically, how does the ability to speak well help you as a person?
It's given me a huge confidence about myself. Yeah, and I think you all agree that when you look at somebody in any space, right, public space, personal space with friends, whatever, when you see and look at somebody who can speak well, you naturally think, wow, this person is really good at what he's doing. So there's a certain confidence you get from speaking. And I think in general, again, I'm talking about the Asian culture, I think a lot of us don't get enough space and that permission and the space to really speak up.
Why do you think it is that there's this thing? And I agree with you. Like
Yeah.
in Asian culture, like why do you think it's stopping people from?
So I
speaking?
would maybe and again, it's not something I'm sharing. I don't think I have research to back this up. But my sense is, it has to do with our education system. I think a lot of times in school we are taught to just memorize and do the work, do the 10-year series. I mean, Singaporeans out there, you know what I'm talking about, right? Do the 10-year series, know enough of the question or the question types or the formats to answer the questions. Anticipate what the question will come out, ace at your exams. But I don't think we give enough opportunities for ourselves to speak. And I find that and again, this kind of learning from I think it could be quite generic, but kind of hearing the learning experiences or the educational experiences or journey that some of our friends have been through, whether it's in the States or Canada or the Western part of the world in general, right? We always feel that they have like more opportunities to speak up or to present.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's the edge they have over us.
And
They're
that's at the early kind of childhood stage, right?
Perhaps. Again, I don't have research to back this up, but I kind of feel that they have more opportunities to articulate what they had to say.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
therefore now, in the boardrooms, in the meetings, a lot of times they speak effortlessly.
And you go practice with all the years of practice, right?
It is practice. And you go like, okay, so this
So true.
there's something that this person must have gone through that I've not gone through, right? So, and getting back to your first question around, is it a gift? It's never a gift. It's just the opportunities that you're given to speak up. Did you grab the opportunity to speak? And were you given enough opportunity to speak?
So for a lay person, already adulthood, right? And who is hoping to speak better, maybe not necessarily in big events or anything, or even in small settings. So now, Christmas period, right? There's a lot of opportunities for you to connect with people, whether you know them or not, on dining table parties or whatever you have. How would you? And they were probably part of that generation whereby kind of class participation is not in that the school curriculum yet, and he or she has this fear of speaking. What tips or advice would you give to this person?
I think speaking in general, right? If there's a little tip or a little suggestion I can give, is people are not looking for perfection. People are looking for a connection.
Wow.
Yeah. So in any circumstance that you're in, again, be in a one-on-one, in a small meeting, or in a big stage, environment where you're on a stage and you're speaking to a lot of people are always looking for connection, because they're not going to remember. Honestly, are people really going to remember exactly word for word what you said? Are they going to exactly remember the entire message that you mentioned? Or are they going to remember how you make them feel at that point of time. So people are really looking for connection and not perfection.
So how do then the person connect? This is hard, right? Because to speak well is to connect well.
Yeah.
And then how do we know what is the space of connection?
That comes from the heart.
Right.
And that comes from a genuine desire to know someone.
Wow, I like it.
Yeah.
Genuine desire
Desire to know someone.
Not to impress.
Not to impress, to know someone.
Wow.
To be curious about someone, yeah. So I mean,
Curious,
just to be really specific, if this example is about, hey, how do I speak better, or how do I network better, or how do I know somebody who's new at a dinner table, etc. Just put on the hat that, hey, actually really curious to know this person, genuinely want to know more about this person. Yeah. Of course, there are some tips. There are some tips that you can pick up. Speaking tips, lots of speaking tips are available. Questioning techniques, whatever it is, right? Lots of books on making small talk, meaningful conversations. So all of that can be learned, can be Googled, right? Google's our best friend these days. But just know that, a lot of it comes from the heart. And if you're really interested in to know somebody, make the connection, and then go and Google, go and find out, what kind of questions should I ask, how much airtime should I have the person, what kind of, should I ask more like why questions or how questions, open-ended questions, so on and so forth. Yeah. So there are different techniques that you can definitely employ. So I'm saying that you can definitely learn them, but what I'm saying is at the end of the day,
from the heart.
It comes from the heart. Because you genuinely want to make a connection with somebody.
This is very similar to the food one. It comes from the heart. You got to be very loving. You got to start from a loving space. You got to be really curious.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I think so. So maybe in my mind, I'm just thinking, right? Maybe the same person or somebody out there is thinking, Maddy, I know all your theories. Can you just give me a good diet right now to follow? Maybe someone is thinking, listening.
Tell me how to speak.
Yeah, thinking, just tell me how to speak. Give me the tip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tell me how to speak. And I think I just want to say that, if you really want all that, there's a lot of online courses you can take. Maddy, you will know because you are doing one right now.
Yep.
There's lots of, go ChatGPT.
Yep.
Go ChatGPT, answers will come out. Go and Google. There's so much information out there about how you can speak. And it can go in an hour, right? You can talk about content, you can talk about the intonation of your voice, you can talk about planning, you can talk about stage presence,
your body
you can
language,
talk about body
how
language,
you look, your volume, all
yes,
this.
you can talk about your speak, your pauses, you can talk about speaking intent. There's so much content just about speaking, right? You can lower your voice to make yourself. There's so much out there I can talk about, but what I really want to talk about is the fact that you haven't given yourself enough time to practice all that, because a lot of this remains in theory, but if you don't put it into
action,
if you don't grab an opportunity to speak and you are too fearful to speak up, if you don't put into practice what you have learned, it's never going to happen, because that theory remains as knowledge that you have that is not put into action. So you must put that knowledge into action. You must learn to make mistakes. This
is so crucial. Learn to make mistakes.
Lots. I've had so many mistakes on stage before. I called people by the wrong name. I said the wrong stuff. I messed up an itinerary. I messed up like a program. I've made so many mistakes, but the truth is you will never learn until you make those mistakes and you grow from it. Yeah. So I just want to say that you must, if you really want to speak well and improve in our speaking, you must find opportunities to speak. Yeah, maybe for example, volunteer at the meeting to say I want to speak, or look for somebody in a party or dinner party and make the connection. Smile, make the connection, and practice how to make small talk.
And I think this whole practicing and the idea of speaking is really just to connect with somebody, right? Like making your message being delivered. And one of the ways that I have practiced, and this is from one of the course that I've taken, right, is firstly, do you know how you are speaking? Do you know how you look like when you're speaking?
Self-awareness.
Start with self-awareness. And it's always self-awareness. We've been talking about this in the podcast, self-awareness of your thoughts, your feelings, and things like that. But even for speaking, if this is something that you really want to gain mastery, first know that there is an exercise that you can do for self-awareness, and you just need one thing. Okay, actually maybe two things. One is your phone. Number two is yourself. So and I've done this, is just take a 5-minute video of yourself speaking about any topic. Take that video assess it, dissect it, and then answer to yourself truthfully, do you like the way you speak? And do you know that this is the way you speak? So because how you're looking at yourself in that video is how this is how others look at you.
Of course.
And only from there, with that self-awareness from the start, then you can know what to Google. Then you can know what you're going to learn. Because it's
how you can improve. Yes.
How you can improve so many things.
Exactly.
And then I can tell you, until I've done that step, then I realized that, oh my god, this is how I sound.
I know,
this
right?
Is how
I know,
look.
right?
And then like all the Cao Yong come out already. So there's a never-ending list if you really want to get better.
Yeah, and there are always areas to improve. So I always suggest start small. Like look for one thing that you want to fix or you want to improve, and start working on that. So bit by bit, right? So don't look at what you're, when you look at how you are speaking right now, and you're like, oh yeah, I need to fix 10 things, about yourself. Sorry, not going to work. You start small. The magic is always in starting small. And I think there's some similarities between, food, nutrition, and all that. Always start small, and the consistency is more important than the intensity.
Wow, the consistency is more important than the intensity.
Correct. When you put deliberate practice in place, if there's one thing that I want to fix, for example, getting rid of a filler word, right? And your filler word is right. I know my filler word is right. Then be intentional about eliminating that filler word, right? Or how to work on the filler word. Yeah, and that's one thing that you deliberately practice and put in place until you have improved it, or you come to a stage where you go, okay, I think I more or less overcome that. Then I move on to the next improvement. Yeah, so that is called deliberate practice. Because if not, you're working at 10 things at one time, it's not going to work. Yeah, focus on one small thing, but do it often enough, consistent enough.
So like in the context of Christmas, connections and say dinner tables and somebody who is really hoping to know more about the other person but has this fear about, how would I sound? I have a question I want to know, will I sound stupid?
Okay.
Like what is that little one step that you will encourage this person to take for this occasion?
Good. Very practical step, Very practical,
Yes,
okay?
Very basic.
Because I'm a very practical person, okay? Go and do a bit of preparation work first. So if you know that you're going to an occasion where you need to make small talk, why not find out what are some of the good small talk questions that you can ask?
Oh, okay.
Do a bit of preparation, right? So don't put yourself in a situation where you are forced to do something last minute. Usually doesn't turn out good, right? Those who can do things well very last minute are those who have years of experience behind them. That's why last minute you can pull something out of the hat and do it well. So same thing whenever I prepare for any MC engagement, whatever. Do you think that I'm always that good? No, that's because I've looked at the script many times. I've looked at the program many times. I'm very familiar with what should happen. So if this thing doesn't happen, what can I pull out to happen before that segment doesn't happen? Things like this. So preparation is important. So if you know that you're going for a meeting, Christmas gathering, and you want to take up the courage and pluck the courage to make some small talk, whatever, go and Google. Use ChatGPT. There's so much resource out there. So much resource. There are probably like tons of templates or standard questions that you can ask. And it's important because there are some questions that obviously you don't ask. Like they're like, hey, are you married? How many kids you have? These are like Chinese New Year questions that we always avoid, right? Yeah. So this is obviously a preparation work you can do. Don't ask these questions. So what else can you ask? What else can you ask in a very casual way? And how do you relate to the information that's being presented to you?
And also asking from the heart, right? Like don't while you're doing all the preparation and also make sure that it's something that you're truly interested, not just for the sake of making a small talk.
That's right. That's why I say the connection is very important. If you genuinely want to know somebody, I think it comes from the heart, and it's a lot easier to kind of do that. But of course, having a preparation is always helpful. Yeah. So and obviously when you have more practice, you should be a bit more fluent, more equipped at kind of managing those small situations, and hopefully you get better at it after much practice.
Yeah. Wow, this is good. This is a very good concise gift that we have prepared for this episode.
Yeah, I hope you all feel that you really like the gifts, because I think you have a great gift to give about food and nutrition, and I have that little gift about speaking. And obviously, if you like to,
so how do they? The next question I want to ask is: so if let's say somebody has a question or something that they really want to be better in speaking, how do they contact you? How do they ask you?
Yeah, we can connect. You can drop me a DM on I think IG or something. Let's figure it out. But I think the best way to reach out is our IG. We can talk about cocktails, we can talk about speaking, these are my passion points. And I mean, if there's something that I can help you or support you in, I will definitely be more than willing to do that.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, in my in my new journey, speaking is also something that I want to be better at. And I think speaking well, like you say just now, right, enables me to connect better with the other person. It builds that authority in the eyes of others, and not wanting that as the outcome, but it really gives that confidence that you build in the team as a message. And then just also appreciating that, wow, you don't have to be a professional speaker.
You don't have to.
But you can be a better speaker than yourself 1 year ago. You can always be better. Then how do you be better? Just keep speaking lah.
Exactly.
And you don't need to be paid to be good. You just need to feel good to be good.
Yes.
And it just takes that 10,000
hours. Yeah. Start building that 10,000 hours. Yeah. You'll only get better when you put in the work, you put in the hours. Yeah.
And just be honest and do that awareness and assessment test. This is something that you really want to be better at.
Totally. Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
That was an interesting episode.
This is good. This is quite a concise one, huh?
Yeah.
And let's end on with the quotes.
Yeah. So this is last two. Okay, come. Start with yours. What's your quote for today, Maddy?
Okay, so this quote is taken from the book that I'm reading now, and then this quote is by Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, Li
Xiaolong.
Okay, like.
And this is more of that I want to apply this quote on the context of food and fitness. Maybe more for food lah. Okay, it says this: absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is specifically your own.
Ooh, interesting quote.
So I think it boils down to what I shared earlier, right? There's so much information out there about food and fitness. Decide really what works for you. And for those people that you're following, that if you think that they're kind of spewing things that you're not vibing with, just choose to unfollow them. You really don't need so much information. And eventually just add what works for you. Because you are, again, the captain of the ship. Yeah. Li Xiaolong for you.
Wow, not bad, huh? Li Xiaolong quote also come out. Wow, very impressed leh. Like 哪里拉出来的? Okay, Ken. So my quote is, again, also very consistent with what we talked about. To start small and to have consistency over intensity. So this quote is, again, one of those little quotes that I have, on Instagram. And can I just share one last thing before I go?
Yes, please.
And this just came out. This is totally
Small
not planned,
things.
right? Because we'll talk about small things, what? So what is one small thing that you can improve in your doom scrolling or your social media scrolling? Okay, let me share with you a life hack. This is a life hack that has worked for me, and I believe it worked for you. Because we know that we are addicted to our phones, right? Whether you like it or not. I think we all spend a certain amount of time on our phone, scrolling through social media. Some more than others. Hopefully you are able to have some sort of control over it. But if not, one way to hack your social media time is to look at interesting or content that's really good for you, meaningful for you, healthy for you. For example, certain IGs, right? For me, like they give really meaningful quotes, very good life advice. So what do? Follow them, set notification, and receive updates from them. So what does it mean? It means that you are curating the content that comes into your social media.
Okay.
So that means whenever I open my IG, the first thing that comes up are good quotes.
Okay.
The first thing that comes up are mental or fitness tips. The first thing that comes out is about life advice. First thing that comes out is dogs. Pictures of dogs and cute dogs. Because that's what I want to see. So you begin to curate the content that you have instead of just doom scrolling.
And also decide that for those that you don't like, just unfollow.
Exactly. You can
Just
always just unfollow.
Or maybe give yourself a challenge. I don't know how many followers that each and everyone have on our Instagram. Maybe say for example you have 1,000. I think 1,000 is quite a lot lah. Okay, but then to each his own. If you decide that wow, too many already, you want to cut down to half, then give yourself a target. Remove half of the people that you're following. Then really curate that amount of information that really comes to your attention.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think my point here is you can always curate. You can always determine what comes into your social media feed.
You get to decide.
You get to decide.
I like
so
it.
this is one little tip for you to decide. Okay, so back to the quote.
Yes.
The quote is about small things. So the quote says, it's the small habits. How you spend your mornings, how you talk to yourself, what you read, what you watch, who you share your energy with, who has access to you. These things will change your life. It's all the small things. And I think that's what we are always been repeatedly saying, right? Don't look for grand plans, grand diet plans, whatever. A lot of these are fads. It may or may not work for you. It's the small habits. Learn to read the food labels, right? Yeah. For me, learn to know how much protein goes into your food intake. Learn what are the small little things you can make improvement in your speech. It's all the small habits, and if you pay attention to the small habits, one day you'll lead to huge progress in your life. But you got to start small and be consistent with the small habits.
And I think this is also what we've been sharing in all our episodes, right? Our 6 episodes. I think we just want to share.
Oh my God!
We just want to share with you all these little things that we are doing for ourselves. We are doing, we are letting go. And these are all the little habits that can be taken into your own hands.
Yes.
And it's not from outside.
Yeah.
It's from the inside.
It's from the inside. And it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's really not rocket science. A lot of things you can take into your own hands, you can take action, you can do something to improve, and it's all very doable with your own hands, right?
Yeah.
You have the absolute power to decide what you want to do for yourself.
Yeah, you can be your own rainbow.
You can be your own rainbow. You can be your own rainbow. You can be your own imperfect rainbow.
Yeah. And then maybe one day you will be also recording a podcast like us, or doing something, or creating a new menu for yourself, whatever, or maybe speaking to somebody that you have never realized that you can actually speak to.
Yes.
Just try something new. Just take action.
Yes, just take action.
So we want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yes, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, a very, very Merry Christmas, and hope you have ended your year well. And if not, don't worry, we always have a next year. With tomorrow comes new sunshine and new hope. There's always a better tomorrow.
Right.
So
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
My name is Maddy.
And I'm Jeremy.
We are the Imperfect Rainbow.
So,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye and take care. We'll see you until the next season starts. Okay, bye.
Bye. Ooh.
Oh!
Wow, very nice eh?
Hey! Feliz Navidad!
Oh!
Feliz Navidad!
I wonder if anybody is still listening now. Listening to our singing.
Oh, that's so fun!